Look, y'all, the government done sued TikTok. TikTok sued the government. I don't know what's going on, but it's TikTok and the government. We're going to break it down in this episode, all right? Have you ever wondered what's the difference of working on your business versus in your business?
How some banks and people were instrumental in the development and the founding of our banking system.
Now, on today's episode of Tax Tip, we getting down and dirty.
I want to start a business. I want financial freedom.
Do you have a business and you have children to employ?
Women should do this and men should do that.
Do you know the benefits of an S corporation? We're going to talk to you about the mistakes you need to avoid before starting your LLC. What's going on, y'all? It's another episode of Minding Your Biz. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Blackwealth, and we got...
Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Miss Fab Financial. We're doing this TikTok thing.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm a fan. You know, I love TikTok.
So
when this was going down, I was like, dang, y'all, for real?
Yeah.
I had mixed feelings at first. I had mixed feelings because I am an American. I do believe in the First Amendment. You should have all your speeches. Should have all of them.
Oh,
right?
That's what that mean? You an American?
I am American. I just want to put that out there, right?
Okay.
People saying you anti-American. I am American.
Okay.
They were like, if you don't like it, head and leave. You know, we get those type of comments. That doesn't mean that that America is without flaws, right? So we want to talk about them. But I do believe in all those amendment rights. But then I was like,
this was a little touchy though, because I think this is probably one of the first time in a while that Congress put this together.
Ever. It's bipartisan.
Okay.
So I think it's a sinister act at play, but we could go ahead and
We'll break it down. What's happening?
Pull it on out.
The Senate, what they talking about? What they trying to do?
Okay. So the issue at hand is supposedly that, is allegedly that it is a national security risk, right?
That's the fight behind the government.
For sure. That's the initial on the face that's saying, hey, listen, 20% is owned by the government, the Chinese government, right? And that they have the opportunity to gain access to American data, and that they could possibly use the app to spy and get information about America.
So is it the Chinese government, or is it the fact that a Chinese man or the guy?
No, it's the Communist Party of China that owns 20% of TikTok, or ByteDance, which is the initial company.
The parent company.
Right. So the rest are owned by other foreign individuals or business owners. Right. Including
Americans.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the 20% is what they want to divest.
White Americans at that.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 20%, that 20% is what we're fighting over.
Okay.
Right? They want them to divest, sell it, have an American, someone else, but not the Communist Party of China owning that 20%.
So Congress believes that TikTok will sell information to China?
That China just has access to it. Because China is, we're not allies. Okay. Right? There is some contention there.
So is it just China, or China have reached to, is it ties to Russia or what?
It could be all the things, right? But they're basically saying that because they own 20%, they have access to American data, right? They can have a window into what we're doing in here, that they could possibly use someone else's phone or app or something to spy or use Americans' data for anything, right? Okay. For fraudulent stuff or anything. Basically that they have access to it.
So it's okay if I do it, but they just can't do it.
Absolutely. Okay. That's exactly what that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Because YouTube has it, Facebook has it, Instagram has it. There's tons of companies that have access to the data. But they're pushing the national security thing because they're like, well, it's the Communist Party of China, right? And they're not our allies at certain points, and they can that's a vulnerability, right? That's the Achilles heel, possibly, that if something comes up, they could use the data, right, the information, to somehow hurt us, harm us, and scam the American people. So then it was like, hey, you need to. So then what TikTok did, so 2020, Donald Trump via executive order, ban TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't really do that. People were like, it's our First Amendment right. You can't do that. So
what was his play behind it, though?
Similar thing. For sure. It was, for me, when he did it, I thought it was just like stunt. I don't really think he...
Like cared.
For sure.
Okay.
I just think it was like...
A thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he banned it through executive order, which was like a nothing burger. But it did plant the seeds for Congress to then initiate and go further with the other ban and say, hey, this is a possible thing. And so they've been... Because
it's huge now. I don't even remember Trump doing that, but I'm seeing what's happening now.
No, for sure. So because like when he did it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. But now it has bipartisan. And so a lot of people are now saying, well, because that's where 80% of millennials get their news.
Okay.
It's from TikTok. They're not watching CNN. They're not watching ABC. They're getting it from TikTok. So you got Al Jazeera, you have ABC. Everyone has a TikTok. Data is shared at large amounts via TikTok, right? It's not just mess, and I do like some of the mess, y'all, but it's not just people arguing on TikTok. There is people, journalists who share, and it's worldwide. So recently, Mitt Romney was not caught because he made it very clear. He was talking about the PR, right, with the Palestinian and Israeli war, saying, hey, we got a problem. I'm young Americans. I'll do the quote. Let me get my notepad. He said there's a PR problem, that all of the pro-Palestinian advocacy is overwhelmingly on TikTok. And so he's basically saying that the TikTok is digital fentanyl, turning young Americans into Hamas supporters.
Now let's put a pin there.
So it is an information thing for me.
Right.
It's to control data information.
Interesting enough that the government has put a plan in place to ban and get rid of TikTok immediately after the war started or initiated, because this started like last October.
Well, it was in works, but it's definitely been kind of fast forwarded based on how information is disseminated.
Spoken like a true politician over here.
I'm not being a politician. I am just saying the facts here.
That's what they said.
Nothing happens overnight. It started with Trump.
For sure.
Just because you noticed it today means it started 2 weeks ago.
For sure.
For sure.
Started with Trump.
It definitely did. That's a fact.
I'm not disputing that, but what I am getting on the fact that it's a heavy push, right? Because you didn't really hear nothing about it until recently, until the war.
Well, only because, too, it's really affecting Americans. It's two things happening. It's the control of information that is a problem, right? Because people no longer want to be spoon-fed your narrative, CNN and Fox News, and who's it, what's it, right? That's how normally information is disseminated. And so those news broadcasters can turn the narrative the way they want, right? Just like a history book. History is the books are what? Written by the person who wins. It's a particular narrative, a particular perspective that tells you what happened in history. Well, if I have a front row seat to it, it doesn't matter what you write or what PR you put out. I see it. I see the videos, what's happening. So you can't spin it to me the way you want. I get it for myself. So it's a way that a lot of communist countries control information. And we in the United States are supposed to be better than that. And this is not giving better. It's giving, I'm trying to control the information my people get. And on the second part, it's a money thing.
What's the money thing?
The influencer economy is huge. A lot of Americans, we talked about it, even in Texas, did not go back to work. Right? They became influencers. Absolutely. It's 170 million Americans on TikTok. Literally, what was the number? Goldman Sachs says the creator economy is expected to generate $250 billion by 2027. Right now, it was a New York-based company called Ford says they are on track to pay $20 million to TikTok creators this year from brand deals.
So what would be the money issue? America gets its taxes?
Well, they're not getting the taxes.
Oh, ain't nobody filed.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, ain't nobody
They're
filed.
not going back to work. They're self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own. They have control over their own agency, how they make money, how they generate.
But I can't see that being a huge issue, because even if I'm a huge influencer and I'm making a lot of money, which
and it's not necessarily huge. There are influencers who are paying $1K per video up to $20K per video.
Right.
So but even if I'm getting $1,000 per video, right? That is additional funds coming into my household that I don't have to then sit in your job and you pay me $12 an hour.
Right. But
it's changing the industry right before our eyes. I sometimes don't think old white men with power like that.
I think I would probably disagree, because what's going to end up happening is the people who become influencers are going to hire a team. So the money still recycles, because you're going to pay. So you're not going to just sit there and do all them videos yourself. You're going to hire the editor. You're going to hire the person. A lot of them are doing
it on themselves. On TikTok, you use CapCut. They have the editing
for sure
right inside.
So, I mean, I know a lot of them are, but a lot of them who start to take it serious start to put a team in place. Because ultimately, when we start to make money, we looking for freedom. So outside of you actually being the creator and actually just coming to shoot the thing, right? You gonna want to use.
Well, that's also understanding. That's a mindset shift, saying, "Hey, this is really a business, and that I need to start having conversations about money and having conversations about trust and wealth management." But we know that's not really happening here. It's not happening here. They're accumulating money. They may not be paying taxes on it, and I think that's also an issue.
No, it might be. But I'm going to pin in this.
You want to reverse and go back.
Right. I know. That's right. Let's, because so I did the research a little bit. I thought it was very, very intriguing that we even have this situation going on. And I found it very funny that we got the situation going on during the time that we got the war they got the war that's going on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So when you put that in perspective to what you were talking about as far as the news being spread and people not being able to like CNN and all those people are not being able to spin it off, I look at the people who behind those networks. Now, right,
they spin a certain narrative.
For sure.
Absolutely. So that's the issue to control the story that's been told. But I could pick up my phone and see a Palestinian from Palestine and see what's happening in his front door.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's different. So no matter what I see on TV, I'm looking on my phone, real time. Bombs are exploding over Baghdad. You know what I'm saying? That's my song. Outcast bombs over.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry. Hey, that's right. That's right.
I've seen all that stuff. Like people like, hey, the real reason why they banning it is because they trying to skew our voice or people making money. But personally, I think it's just a play because Jews is not getting the attention that they feel that they should have in the support of the war.
You put the Jew.
That's right. We're going to get right into the real reason why this is going down.
Thank you. We're not going to get.
We ain't got to look. Y'all can bleep that part out. But, some Americans, I'll say it like this, right, are not in favor of what's happening with the war.
A lot of Americans are not.
For sure, because there's a lot of
and they're pressing Congress.
J people.
They're pressing Congress for a ceasefire, and so when I heard what you said, and I tried to skip over it nicely because I don't want to be called anti-Semitic. I don't, and I have affinity and likeness for everybody. So I'm trying to skip past what's been said, and
but I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm just reporting on what I see. I really don't. Be honest with you, I don't really care one way or the other. But it's just funny how the news is coming out in relation to the war and then how it's a push on it. Because also I seen too where some Congress members were upset about the what's the guy named, the Chinese dude who owned the ByteDance,
right? The spokesman,
the CEO, no, the man. the one who is from Singapore and went to Harvard Business School, right? So yeah, a lot of them were upset because they was like he didn't really like build relationships with them. This was in the Wall Street Journal. Like he didn't build like proper rapport and relationships with some of the congressmen. He left it up to like some of his lawmakers to kind of build that relationship. His first time walking around in Congress and meeting some of the people was due to the fact that they were being brought up on charges. You get what I'm saying? So, so some of this stuff seemingly is starting to be a little bit right.
Listen, these old white men are playing a different game. Okay, it's about power.
They
and
like,
control.
I want you to come see me.
So
you have
and we're collateral damage here. That's basically what's happening. It's power and control.
Yeah.
And so
at this point, Congress passed a bill to...
Yes, Congress passed it.
For them to ban this by January 2025.
To divest.
Right.
Or a total ban, which means that there will be a fine. The App Store, the Samsung, all of that will not be able. You will not be able to download TikTok.
Right.
You'll face up to a $10,000 fine for those companies, Apple and Google. Right. That's one, because they're trying to figure out now how they're going to enforce it. Right. And then on the TikTok side, right, your data, you're losing everything. It'll be gone. Right. You know, TikTok. They'll have to remove it and you won't be able to log in.
I guess y'all got 9 months to make some money.
TikTok got 9 months to figure out what they're going to do. But to prolong it, they countersued.
Right.
They said,
I ain't with that.
Absolutely. So they countersued.
I'm going to exercise my right to sue.
Absolutely. And so basically what they're saying is, hey, you're going against Americans' First Amendment right.
That's right.
You're controlling their voice.
That's right.
And how they see and get information. They're basically saying it's really fracanackle. So that's going to prolong it for a few, to see. But then there was a, what's his name? I wrote his information down too, because it's all really a money play. It's really ugly. When I started to research it more, what's his name? I was trying to find his name in here. He was the former Treasury Secretary. Oh, Stephen Mnuchin, that he has come up with funds to buy it. Like there are already people in play trying to buy that 20%.
But he ain't gonna sell it.
He's not.
Then you have to consider
Well, it's not up to him. It's up to the Communist Party of China. That's the 20%. China.
Yeah, but they ain't gonna get rid of it. And
they're like, y'all owe us money for the debt.
And then at the end of that,
sit down.
at the
bite dance.
Hang on, I lost my train. On the other side of that is American being able to hold up in court the fact that TikTok poses a national security issue, and I think that's a broad thing. I don't think that's going to be able to be held up. I mean, in court.
Depending on the circuit and how far it goes.
I still don't. But that if
if you would have asked me 2 years ago if abortion would be illegal, I would say no. So it depends on who's the court, who's on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like if it does,
we can't wait for that. I think that you need to. I mean, it's Congress people who came in and put this together and snuck the bill in a foreign aid bill. That was the shady part. It wasn't even a standalone bill. It was inside of a foreign aid bill.
What, the TikTok?
Yes, the TikTok
when they just
ban
passed it, right,
was like, hey, do we fund the war in Palestine? Do we give the Russia? Yes or no? It was yes. Oh, but also the TikTok ban is in here too. Like what?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's in 4K how legislation and how the government is manipulating and getting stuff through. And then y'all don't want to participate in the political process. You letting these people kind of do what they want to do. You're not calling, you're not writing, you're not voting your representatives. Nothing is happening. Them people out there protesting every day, the Palestinians, and you see it on your phone. And y'all be like, oh, look, they protesting. But what you gonna do? Don't give me that face.
Now, all right, now, what they gonna do?
What you mean?
What they gonna do? I'm gonna call the congressman and say what?
If you had
this bill came from Congress.
Absolutely.
It ain't come from Americans.
Well, Congress are supposed to represent us.
Keyword on supposed to.
Now, if you don't say nothing.
Right, but the bill came from Congress. It's
right,
not
but
like I lobbied to get TikTok banned.
Of course not, but you could lobby against it and said, no, this affects Americans.
But
we just talked about the economy and how it affects.
But that's what TikTok did.
And majority, and so now TikTok is saying that they will do a class action lawsuit on behalf of Americans.
For sure. But TikTok also used the platform to push out for people to call their congressman to go against it.
They did, but I think it was late in the game. I think if they would have did it, because there were some people who absolutely did it. And I heard Cory Booker come out and he was like, I wouldn't have done it if it was this, and I wouldn't have done, you know what I mean?
But I don't think it works in their favor due to the fact that the government is coming at them from a national security rule about the influence of TikTok. And then he comes out and say, hey, TikTok, all my users, can y'all call Congress, which the post went viral, which plays into the government's hand on how much influence
but
TikTok
they just have to show the other apps. Bigo is owned by
but they
China.
Focus on nothing else.
Right, because that's how you know it's corny. Their case doesn't stand up by foreign national security. If you have other foreign, what are these things called? Apps. That we put in our data in. That to me is like, then you need to ban all of them.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't stand up.
And this is going to be an interesting case.
Bigo, BIGO, is owned by Chinese people. From China, not like American Chinese. And so people put in their credit cards, their information, their live streaming. It's their algorithm.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
know.
Then
you got Twitch. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah,
that is, to me, doesn't stand up. But it's political. He's going to have to get in the ring, pay some people, and pray and do what they do.
Man, you think you got to pay people off?
Absolutely. You're going to have to play that game.
You're going to have to break them off?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me get TikTok.
Absolutely.
I'll give you a billion.
Oh, yeah. Them congressmen? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, what does that say about American government?
That it can be bought. They like, we're not going to lobby. We're going to give you a certain share, or I give you this island over here, or you want what you want.
So they can keep TikTok.
Oh, yeah. I don't think TikTok is.
All right, so
anywhere.
On the flip side, this is not anti.
I think something else will happen depending on what's happening in the world, right?
But I'm wondering
so the war, if that gets tampered down, let's say they do come up with a ceasefire.
It's not though.
Well, they're pushing for the ceasefire heavy.
Yeah, but I don't see this watering down. These are Jews we talking about. We still talking about the Holocaust.
To the answers.
I mean, I'm just laying out the facts. Y'all taking it as
Jesus,
the anti. Y'all be scared to say Jews.
Take the wheel.
Ain't nothing wrong with saying Jews.
It's not.
Right.
But that's not paint that narrative.
I'm not painting no narrative. I'm saying that it's not going to go down.
It may. It's political. It's a global push for a ceasefire.
Right. America got involved in the Holocaust.
There are Americans pushing, right? That's what Mitt Romney and them talking about. Like, we're getting pressure. I'm getting people from Utah,
right,
pressuring me because of what they seeing on TikTok to the point that I got to push for a ceasefire because that's what my constituents are asking from me. They don't want that smoke. They want to be able to do the same fracking they've been doing. They don't want us involved. But why they involved? Because it's on their phone. They swiping and seeing people getting bombed and killed. So they're pushing they're like, well, why they won't take the ceasefire? We're giving the money over here. We got to change this. In New York City, the pro-Palestinian students, government in New York during the Met Gala, where all the who's who was there, all the money, they laying out on the streets, they, causing all on TikTok. That's why I seen that at. I go, look at TikTok. They falling out on TikTok. I didn't go to CNN. I'm not going. I went on TikTok, so they falling down the streets during the Met Gala. This is crazy.
I'm probably just gonna have to be quiet this whole episode.
All right. We're gonna move
because it's crazy. First of all, it's crazy that we even have to be so sensitive to just around Jewish people. And it's not about the fact that these guys are, or anybody's being anti-Semitic. Personally, I study Jews. The thing that I like about the fact, from a business perspective of this whole scenario, even into your money play, that's why I was like, I really don't know how far he could really pay people off, because behind those people are Jews. So how much influence can his money have over the people who has real concern about what's happening over there? right? And so when you look at it, though, from a powerful standpoint, look at how they lobby.
This is the last show.
Look at how they lobby.
They're going to shut us down.
Look at how they
we got
lobby.
2 likes last week, baby? We ain't going to get nothing. YouTube has blocked the algorithm. They not pushing
that's
nothing.
My point. That's my point.
Don't have a point. Have it off air. Have the point in the closet. Lord Jesus, take the wheel.
Nope, you ain't gonna shut me down.
Lord help us.
It ain't gonna happen.
Thank you for the 2 people who gonna see this episode. We appreciate you.
At least y'all heard the truth.
Appreciate you.
Share the truth, because we can't water it down. But it's not. But I guess that's my thing. It's not about being anti those people, right?
Even those people. How would you are HR nightmare. Lord help us. I know. How do you say that? I would like someone to talk about black people and say those people.
They do. It's the reality we live in.
You do not become what you oppose.
I'm not becoming nothing.
You are.
I'm speaking on the fact.
That's not a fact.
What's not a fact?
What you're saying.
What?
It's propaganda and it's generalist. That's saying all Jews are this. If you want to have that conversation, you can have that conversation.
I'm not saying all Jews.
You're being what you oppose.
I'm not.
You okay.
That's people being emotional versus being logical. And that's where we got emotionals is why TikTok is being banned and sued. That's right there. You can't give me a logical reason why this is even happening. America can't even give it. That's not going to stand up. And it's not logical. That's emotional.
It can stand up. It'll stand up to anything depending on who's in power.
I guess. But then you got to see who's in power.
It might not be logical to make sense. In some theory, it makes a little sense, right? In terms of national security. Now, do I think it's hypocritical? Yes. The Communist Party of China is a real thing, honey, and they don't play no games. If they wanted to, you know what I'm saying? They own a lot of our debt. They have a huge economy. They are a power player in the world, right? Now, us and Americans, we get very elitist and think we the only ones that got something going on. The Communist Party is not a joke. Their algorithm itself for TikTok is the problem as well, because the Americans can't mimic it, right? Hence why Instagram and Facebook are subpar, why people are leaving those apps. Why? Because they're heavily controlled and the algorithm doesn't push it out the way it should. TikTok has found it to connect us globally as a people. And you're
saying like Facebook, Instagram is not connecting the world like TikTok is?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It filters a lot of information. And so even the guy, Steve Mnuchin, said it would be very difficult to mimic that algorithm. That is the proprietary. That is the money there. So But the filtering though, is that we can't figure it out, or is it because it's filtered? Well, it's about control over data. Instagram and Facebook control what you see. Right. They control what your followers see. Right. But TikTok, their algorithm is very different. Right. So if I type in or click on something, I get access to a window in a world that's not like mine, and I can connect with people. The live stream, the way my views are sent, they push it out a little bit more organically than a Facebook and an Instagram, was very now ad driven, right? It's like you got to pay to play over there. You know what I mean? And there are creators who are making money there as well. I'm not saying that's not a thing. But TikTok is a different animal and a different beast.
No, I agree. I mean, I guess it's a lot to unpack there.
And if China really wanted to get gangster with it, maybe could they do something with our data? Sure, they could. But so could Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everything else. You got to click and put your email in. I mean, AT&T had a data breach 2 months ago.
Right.
So I think on national security, you can't really stand hard on that.
Right.
I got somebody right now that hacked me from AT&T, then them people is emailing in Spanish. Okay? So national security come in all forms. I don't think you can sit up here and be like, well, China.
AT&T.
Child by AT&T.
They used to be Bell South.
And y'all supposed to have, that's an American company, right?
Supposed to be. Oh, it is, I think.
It is. Now, they probably got some Asian investors, right? They got some foreign investors. Right. So I just say, It's all fracking-ackle. It's about power and control. And I think that if you are a content creator and you make money heavily on TikTok, you want to start finding other ways to create and generate money, because we don't know if TikTok is really going to be here.
All right. So
I think the government is pushing, is having a conscious effort to control how we receive information. And that is very powerful. And so I would not be surprised. The old me, the way I would look at America 3 years ago, I would say it's no way they would ban it. But me today, seeing what's happening, I would say it's imminent. It's something happening, because I think democracy is fragile here.
I guess we'll see. This is ongoing.
It is.
We will see.
Don't you say another word.
I'm not.
Don't you say and speak another word.
Nah, it's, y'all just very interesting to me. All y'all. Very interesting to me.
All right. So as a creator, some ways that you could possibly move your content away from TikTok. I've heard out there that you could also use a VPN, right? That if they ban TikTok, you could use a VPN to say that you're coming from another country and still be able to upload your stuff on TikTok.
Is that not illegal?
Is it? Is it illegal?
I mean, VPNs is not illegal, but how are we gonna if they?
My virtual assistants do it.
Right. I mean, but that's just, the VPN is just private.
like a workaround.
Right.
That's a workaround. It's not illegal. It's not on the law book. Now it could be maybe in 10 years, but as of today, it's not. I ain't saying nothing illegal. I'm giving advice.
Okay.
It's not illegal to somebody pull it up. I know y'all will. Is it on the law today? Right, What's today's date? Don't be trying to come back 2 months and say it's a law. Today, today's date, it is not illegal to circumvent that. If the ban was here today, you could use a VPN.
To just be on. Oh, I get what you. So you saying like we can't use the app, but we could go on the web browser to use TikTok.
You can still get on there.
If I ain't hear no stuff today. That's so funny. All right, look. This might be a separate tangent, but I'm curious. How do you as a Asian American, right, putting yourself in Asian Americans' platform, right? Because America's built on a whole bunch of people being able to come here and live in a free country, being able to do what they want to do, how they want to do it. Mm-hmm. But what I think is interesting from a political standpoint is like how you said, like we're not. China and America are not like...
We're not allies.
Mm-hmm. Right? So then, if I'm a Asian Americans from China, how would you feel about like what's happening or what's going on with TikTok and this whole thing with America?
If I'm an Asian American, I don't think they care. I don't think no one's targeting
like American or Asians in America.
Right.
This is just straight.
This is a business foreign entity thing. The communist country of China own 20%. So I don't think that Asian Americans here are like, that's not fair. That's not cool. I mean, we're not allies. It's not like, I don't think that's a thing.
So from a business perspective though, if they ban TikTok,
it's a huge implication.
From a business perspective, if TikTok is banned, what type of business, like what kind of rabbit holes?
5 million businesses use TikTok to grow and advertise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a huge dent in how business owners make money, how they generate, how they. I mean, there's, like I said,
I'm also wondering, like, from just the business laws and rules of how we just run and do business, with them being able to ban TikTok, it seems like it will open up a gate to do a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. That's why I said our democracy is on the table here. You know what I mean? You can't just say, no, Americans, you can't do this. That's how communist countries work. That is how China works. They control what happens in that country. That's how Cuba works. Americans are supposed to have free reign and will over whatever. We're supposed to have access to anything across this country, the world. where communist countries limit what comes in their country and what goes out, which is why people say, well, the algorithm in China is different. Yes, it is different. Because they limit what their people see, what their people receive. Hence is why Donald Trump was like, dictators, they're great. Xi Jinping is great in North Korea. These are dictators. They control data and information and how you receive it.
Okay, so now
it's not just like, it's a TikTok ban. It's the control
of democracy.
And that I don't think that's like
so looking at it though from a political law perspective, right now Congress have passed a bill that the TikTok is banned.
I wouldn't be voting for any of the other politicians right now. They would lose their job.
As an American,
how dare you?
So now with TikTok being able to sue them,
absolutely.
Now that's.
Now, how do you like that?
But that's pressure.
The foreign entity is taking our best interest against the government that's supposed to protect us.
For sure, but the guy who is the CEO that's running it is American.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at it that he's going to sue the government. The pressures that puts in the court system on how that's going to be a delicate court case.
Yeah, this is precedent. This has never happened before in the history of our country.
Well, I think not that TikTok is as of importance as discrimination on people, but I'm looking at like when you look at RBG, the Supreme Court justice who passed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She built her career off fighting against discrimination. In a time where America was like heavy male oriented, like women couldn't do nothing, right? She was one of the first people to go to Harvard, right? And so to fight those cases that she did, basically she had to put a case together that changed people's perspective on life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now we going into this similarly, not that it has the same, barriers on
new.
it, but it's a new thing.
It can open the door for other things.
So whoever's fighting against this case have to literally change the perspective of the...
Well, he's going to get the best lawyers.
Right. But they still going to have to change the perspective of the judge in this sense if it don't go to
the Supreme Court. It'll probably go all
right, which is still heavily influenced.
That's why I said that.
Through Congress. This is very interesting.
Which is why I said I would be firing and getting all new Congress people, which is why it's super important to put people in position that align with you who have integrity.
Yeah.
And so the people that were placed or put in the Supreme Court, a lot of them lack integrity, as you can see, because they overturned Roe versus Wade. And so
it's unfortunately, sometimes you can't really test that until they really in that position. And that's just true.
No, that's not true. That's not true. The history and going back in time and how they put people on the Supreme Court, Thurgood Marshall, who you just said, tested. You can see people who have integrity based on their previous cases, based on their viewpoint. And if you're too far to the left or right, I could tell pretty much how you would vote. That's obvious. And the people that were put up, came from what they call the Constitution, the Heritage Constitution Foundation or something, which is heavy right-leaning. And they said, here, Donald Trump, get the judges from these people. We already vet them. We know
who own them.
And that's Republican women, heavy right wing, and saying these are judges that align with us. And that's who he put up there.
Yeah.
Versus centrists, people who are going to look at the case for what it is and going to take the Americans' people perspective and put it in here and not based on their own ideology.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that, it's bigger than TikTok. This is democracy on trial here.
And not that I don't disagree with that. I just think it's hard. The law is hard for any one man or woman to uphold it. Because I think that in America, democracy, laws are written of the governance of what people want to see. You know what I mean? And that just because you might think it's law or you feel it should be upheld doesn't make it law or legal, right? Or that
no, for sure. I mean, we have people right now who are suing for counter racism. There are white people right now suing for counter racism.
Right.
There's a woman right now who was saying, hey, I have a VC and I give money to women, black women only. Well, the white woman said, well, that's discriminating against me.
Right.
How do you like that?
Well, it might be. It might be.
All right.
It might be.
So, as a content creator, if you are on TikTok, this thing is bigger than just posting videos. Yeah. It's bigger than you making an extra couple coins, liking, sharing, commenting on TikTok. It's democracy on the line here, y'all. So
I like that play, democracy on the line.
It is. It's bigger than that. It's about control. And so all those Second Amendment people that want the right to bear arms need to be front and center. They need to be front and center. This is an American issue. Because if they take this away, what's next? They're steering the narrative right in front of your eyes in 4K on how history is going to be told to you.
Mm-hmm. This is good. You heard it here, not first, but on our platform. I feel like Benjamin Franklin a little bit. But anyway.
How you feel like Benjamin Franklin?
Just
not
how
Thurgood or like...
No. I'm just saying how, Benjamin had the platform to write news journalist platform that, let him influence American politics. So we talking about democracy on the line.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Right.
Okay,
See, I know my people. Just because I relate to black people, listen, I know my history.
He was a Quaker.
Right. Okay. Self-made millionaire.
Well, he was white, and he lived in a time where being white could get you some things. And I ain't giving white people that much credit when you...
let's cancel this right now. So y'all heard our views on it. I think it's interesting though. We'll see if it upholds. We'll see what happens. All right. We'll see what happens, man. Y'all let us know what y'all think about the TikTok, man. Your take on it, your views on it. I'm sure we'll probably talk about it some more. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to keep minding your biz. We'll see you on the next episode.